Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are happy to see you here today. We are happy to know that you have come once again with your beautiful, inquisitive nature, with your desire to know yourself, to know your world, to find your path, to answer the big questions, to answer the little questions, and to answer everything in between. For we know that there is no such thing as a little question and no such thing as a big question. They are all questions about the meaning and the purpose and the whys and the whens and the hows, and all roads lead to the same path. So we'd love to know who has the first question or comment today. Yes, go ahead.
First, I have a small question and then maybe a bigger conversation. But we were exposed to COVID on Saturday. My grandma, my nieces, and I'm just like, maybe we can check if somebody caught it. But
Yes, yes. So the most important thing when one encounters any other sort of life form, really, but we will include viruses in this as well, is that it is always a dance. Yes, it is always a dance between the organisms in terms of how they are reacting to each other, how they are seeing each other, how they are interacting with each other, how they are perceiving of each other. Yes. And so the best thing one can do if one knows that one has been exposed to something that could be dangerous is to sit and meditate. How can we be of service to each other? Yes, how can we be of service to each other? For there is no malicious organism. Yes, it is all simply consciousness trying to survive, trying to adapt, trying to make their way. Yes. And so since you are someone that is aware of the mutable nature of things, sit and bring to mind each family member and ask the virus, do you need to dance with this person? Do you need to communicate with this person? Do you need to be in this person's system? And if so, what is the way that you can both benefit? What is the way that you can both benefit? And I know it is odd for people to think of the benefits of having a pathogen, but in fact, there is benefit because there are ways that your body can learn and grow and shift in its own awareness in having this virus in it, but also through coming into contact with the consciousness of a new virus, of a new species, of a new awareness. Yes, you can always learn. We are all teachers, yes. Even viruses are teachers. And so we would say the best way is to put aside the idea that this is necessarily a harmful thing and ask, what are the ways that we can both benefit? And just see what comes to mind. And it may just be an awareness for you, or it may be actions that you need to take, or things you need to tell that person, et cetera, et cetera. Just let your mind relax and let the intuition come. Yes?
and then something else that has been bothering me. I was living in LA. I grew up in Guatemala. I was living in California for a long time. I decided to make my way back. But I've been having a lot of clash with the culture, which I knew, and I know it's different, and I know where people are coming from, yet I still just twist it every time I don't like, with a lot of things, my partner or or my family or the work culture, everything is different.
Yes. Yes. And so the reason and we have spoken of this before, the reason we experience contrast, the reason we experience change is it is a stimulus to grow. Yes. It can also be, in your case, a stimulus to be aware of how much you have grown. Yes, or how much you have changed. For oftentimes we have grown and changed in ways that, because they are so incremental and because they are so seamless, we aren't aware. And yet when we go back to something that used to seem familiar to us or normal, or that we just didn't even notice, suddenly things become starkly in stark contrast. Yes, we become starkly aware. And so then the question for you becomes, what have I learned? How have I grown? What are the ways I can feel sure of myself in the ways that I am different now, or the ways that I have grown, or the way that I see things? And then the other question becomes, what is my role, or how much do I want to share or be a stimulus to changing the people around me? For all we can do in life is offer our wisdom. Yes, we cannot actually change people, but we can be the stimulus for their change. And then it is up to them. Yes. And then the other thing to consider, of course, is sometimes we want to go back to somewhere because we think it will be familiar and comforting in the ways that it was before, when we were there before. But we have changed so much that we realize, oh, this is no longer familiar and comforting. I have changed too much. And then we have to reassess, well, what would be familiar and comforting for me at this time? Yes, and it may be that it's something new that becomes familiar and comforting. So those are sort of different aspects that you can consider when looking at a situation that you are revisiting and realizing how much the situation has not changed and yet you have changed. Yes, so that is the first awareness. And then think about, what does that mean? Do I even want to do anything about that? Or is it just an observation? And it is a way for me to recalibrate who I am to exist in this situation in a way that does not anger me or frustrate me, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, look, I am different. Yes, it is an observation. It is an observation. And if you choose to bring other people towards you, I am different in this way, and I would love it if you could be different in this way with me too. And then let them choose. Yes, that is their choice. You can't force them or control them, but you can communicate. I have found this way that I think is better, and I think if you tried it, you might find it better too. And then you just let it go, like releasing a bird. Yes. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, I think you gave a good consideration.
Okay, good.
Yeah. How to be the better student, or to be seamless to change. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else today?
Hello, Saul. I'm off camera. I'm not feeling well today, but wanted to join in. And I have a question about babies that don't make it through miscarriage or whatever. I had two when I was much younger. My kids were much younger. I didn't really think too much about it because it wasn't so far along that it was incredibly traumatic. But my daughter was saying that through some deep meditation, she was encountered by something that she felt like was a sister energy. And so she was asking me, you know, did you, and it's, I guess, because like I said, they were early enough that I didn't consider it such a trauma that my kids even knew about that. So she's a grown up now and said, did you ever have any? And was surprised. And then said she had encountered this energy that felt very sisterly to her. So I was wondering if it was a girl. And I said, I don't know, because we weren't far enough along to know. So I was just wondering if a baby that didn't arrive still has the ability to interact energetically with members of the family. I don't know. It was just not something I ever thought about before. So I was just kind of curious about what their place is in the energetic world, and if there's the ability to interact. And I don't know, just sort of opened a new thought pattern,
Yes.
a new
Yes.
whatever channel for me. Yeah.
But it's a very good question. And the first thing I will say is that, of course, we have all had experiences where we have been that being that did not make it to term, or that had a life outside of the womb of only a day or two or a week. Yes, that is something that we all have experienced in our different incarnations. And many people consider that a, let's say, tragic turn of events. And it is tragic for the family who is expecting, yes, because we have these hopes and dreams and an awareness of the level of happiness that it would bring. However, for the being itself, it is not tragic, yes, because of course they have agreed to this as part of their life contract before they come. So they are aware that this is a shorter life. Yes, some of us know that we will be here for one day. Some of us know that we will be here for 100 years, and then there is no emotional impact from that when you are agreeing to it. Yes, it is just a different version, and it is not tragic or not sad, because you know that you will come back to the oneness and then you will try again. But to answer your question, yes, there is a version of consciousness in any life form. And that would even be true for things that you may not consider a life form, like the earth itself, right? Yes, and all that the earth contains, the rocks and things such as that. And so, yes, there is a way that the consciousness can interact, and there is a way that the consciousness is also aware of what family it is coming into. Yes, I mean, we all, or most of us, not all, most of us, in some way, have an awareness of our family that we're entering into, because of course that is going to shape us in very fundamental ways. And so if we are here to study certain specialties, it is helpful to have formative years with your family that either directs you to that, or that you must turn away from that to direct yourself to. Yes. And so, yes, there is an awareness and there is a connection, but that being is also aware that it will be a very shortened one, and that they may not actually be born and actually have that sort of outside communication with the family. It is more of just an awareness and a connection, an awareness and a connection. The other thing we will point out that people are sometimes aware of and sometimes not, when it comes to things like being aware of a sister energy or a brother energy, or a feel like a piece of you is missing, is that it is not uncommon in mammals for there to be more than one fetus and only one to survive, or two to survive, or three to survive, if this is a species that has multiple babies per litter, like a dog, so to speak. So a dog could originally be carrying 8, and then 1 or 2 may in biological terms, be reabsorbed. But again, that is just their life contract. So it could be, as you say, one of the children that you had that did not come to term, or it could have been another awareness that was in there with her at the same time that did not make it too. Again, from the point of view of these creatures, this is what they agreed to. Yes, because we must try out everything. We must play and we must experiment and we must, research, gather information, try as many things as we'd like. So if she is aware of this, please reassure her that there is not a sadness for that sister, that sister was aware. Yes.
Yes, actually, it was the opposite. She found it really comforting, as because she has a brother, but she doesn't have a sister. So it was a source of, she felt good about it. So, but this is all very interesting. Yeah, no, I'm glad it was a good thing, but all of it, I don't know, something for me to be thinking about, but it's very interesting.
Yes.
Thank you.
It could also be, we have these awarenesses of other incarnations that we have had. And some people have the experience of meeting someone here and saying, oh man, I feel like I knew you in a past life. Yes, that is what people say. And sometimes that is someone that was even a sibling. And sometimes it could just be that we have a vague, we will not call it memory, but maybe an imprint that at some point we had a different family with different members and different sisters and different brothers and different parents. Yes. And so we can sort of access those imprints or emotions. So it could be that as well.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who else has a question or comment for us today?
I do.
So,
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Thank you. So lately I've been realizing that that the way I've learned to take care of myself is like by depriving myself of pleasurable things and even doing things that feel like punishments of sorts. But I don't know how to take care of myself without feeling that, especially now that that there's like this huge wave of people getting sick and that kind of thing where I live. And I don't know how to feel safe without feeling like I'm not allowed to go out because that would be bad or a punishment of sorts, that kind of thing.
So going out would be the punishment?
No, going out would be what my body wants to do, but like forcing myself to stay in because it's safer feels like a punishment, but like a needed one. I don't know.
We think that perhaps the issue is with the concept of punishment versus self-care. Yes. There are two things at play here. There is we will call it the desire. Yes. So the desire to go outside or to go on the shopping spree or to gamble or to curl up in a corner and read tons of books, et cetera, et cetera. Yes. And we think that you are seeing those things as self-care. Yes. But in fact, what they are, or what they could be, are activities to make you feel better. We would ask maybe to consider, what are activities that wouldn't necessarily make me feel better, but what are activities that would make me feel more whole? What are activities that would make me feel more worthy? What are activities that would make me feel more deserving of love, respect, of belonging? Yes. And they may not be activities, they may be thoughts, or they may be different things. But we think that you are caught in the it is like a hamster wheel that we are taught is the way by many cultures of keep doing things to make yourself feel better. If you are feeling bad, do things to make yourself feel better. And then if you feel bad again, do something else to make yourself feel better. Yes. And many people have used the term self-care to define those things that make you feel better. But we would like to ask people, what could you do to not necessarily feel better, but what could you do to feel safe, warm, like people love you, like you love yourself, like you have a lot to offer to the world, like other people are excited to have you around, like everyone you meet believes you are a blessing. And everyone that you meet is in some way a blessing to you, because that is a connection you get to make, or a lesson you get to learn, or some sort of nourishment for your soul. Yes. And so rather than looking at things through the lens of, is this self-care or is this punishment? Look at things through the lens of, does this make me feel like I am a blessing to myself, a blessing to others, and a blessing to the world? Because you are. You are. Yes. And then it becomes less about the activities that you're doing, or less about the restrictions that are put upon us, and more about, who am I? Who am I, and how do I peel away the layers of self-judgment or shame and get back to my true awareness that I am excited to be here. I'm excited to be a being. And there is nothing about me that is unlovable or unworthy. Isn't that a radical thought? Does that make sense? So we think that it is more of a reframe away from the paradigm of punishments and self-care, and more towards the paradigm of, how do I more deeply feel my worthiness and my belonging? And so we would say for you, practice wherever you are, whether you're inside, whether you're outside, whether you're talking to someone, whether you're by yourself, just think, I am a blessing. Or if that doesn't work, aren't I a blessing? See if that works. And then, of course, there may be negative self-talk from years of thinking another way. And you can just gently and kindly say, no, thank you. I hear you, but deep down, the truth is I'm a blessing. And I know that. And the more that you connect with that, the more that you relate to that, the less that you will have to search for the things that are self-care, and the more that they will just arise. Because the self-care will be just in being yourself, regardless of the activity that you're doing or not doing. Yes? So we would say practice putting aside that paradigm of self-care and punishment. We understand that that is not easy, because that is one that you have grown up in that culture with that awareness around you for so long. But you are a blessing. We see it. Other people around you see it. And so think of self-care not as an activity, but as a deepening of that awareness. I care for myself by deepening my awareness, by deepening my memory that I am a blessing. And I can do that inside, I can do that outside. I can do that climbing trees or on roller skates or sitting in a chair reading a book. In all of those ways, you are a blessing. You are a blessing to yourself, you are a blessing to others, you are a blessing to this world that you walk on. Yes? So try that shift, see what happens.
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome. Kathy, did you have a question?
I don't know how to phrase it. So I guess if I feel that a relationship with friend who became then my agent, friend and landlady, I lived in her house and then became my agent. You know, the new term ghosted. So I feel ghosted and I don't know how to shift that or whether to actually say, hey, have you ghosted me? Or just move on, you know, where are the breadcrumbs? So.
Do you feel like there is more to develop or grow in the relationship with her? Or do you feel like if this relationship ended and another similar one came in to take its place, another agent, let's say, that would be just as good?
Yes. And probably cleaner than going from friend. And then I go into that place of, but do I care about I think I care about the friendship. I do care about the friendship. So is there something about giving her an opportunity to join me in parting ways or join me in forging a new relationship? I just, this thing about, it feels sometimes like I make so many assumptions about relationships. Assuming what she's thinking and feeling now, assuming what she'll think and feel if I write her a letter and say, hey, I found a new agent. I mean, you know, so yeah.
And so that is why all we can do is say where we are from our heart and extend an invitation for others to come join us there, as we were speaking of to Maria as well. Yes, that is it. And then be in the awareness that you have then played whatever part you were supposed to in their journey. That is it. And if there are more parts to play, they will get back to you and you will continue being in each other's lives. And if not, then you have done your work. And you may not even ever know the ramifications of that work. Yes, it could spur them to move in a different direction that is very important to them, but it's not necessarily the direction you were inviting them in. So just say where you are with an open heart and extend an invitation. And don't feel like you know for better or for worse whether it is for their good or not. So let's say you wrote a letter and said, here is what is in my heart. I want you as a friend, and I am feeling called to find someone else to work with as an agent. But I more than anything would continue to want to have you as a friend. That is very important to me. You have no idea if that will hurt her feelings or if she will be relieved.
Mm.
And it is not up to you to know. That is not your job. Your job is to speak from the heart and extend an invitation.
I guess I would like her as an agent. I would like her as an agent. I would like it to be clean and clear.
Express that.
And to know that she honestly wants me as a client.
Then express that too. Yes, express what is in your heart in a kind way and say, and here is an invitation for how I would like us to grow, how I would like us to be. But we are two different human beings. So if that is not what you want, then there are other things awaiting both of us. And the thing is, you then have to be prepared for other people to have unconscious responses. Yes. So for example, if she feels threatened by that or upset by that or abandoned by that, et cetera, then all you can do is hold space for that. And just keep repeating your truth. And that is okay if other people have emotions, if other people have reactions. You have emotions, you have reactions sometimes, yes? It's all okay. So we will amend what we said. It is about speaking the truth from your heart, extending an invitation, and then allowing the other person to go through what they are going through, holding space for that.
Great.
Yes, helpful, good.
Okay. Yep, thank you.
We have just a few more minutes. Yes, Susan.
I was thinking of something that you were speaking with Georgina about, as certain things perhaps being viewed as a punishment. And what I was experiencing this morning was real grief over no longer being able to express myself in certain ways, whether it's through what I say or my movement, or, it's been I feel quite a lot of energy and delight at being alive, but I'm not able to express it in that way anymore so much. And I felt very sad. And then I realized when you were speaking to Georgina that what I have been given is the opportunity to express that in a new way.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that sense, I don't feel so sad about it.
And it is fine to feel frustrated and sad when we lose something. In fact, it is necessary. Yes, it is part of the grieving process. And it is also sometimes, as we lose our abilities, yes, as we get older, and let's say we lose the abilities to run and jump as we once did when we were 10 years old, yes, and then we lose the ability to hear as well as we used to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And these things, as we age, we lose our ability to do as many activities as we used to do. And this does go along with what we said to Georgina. It is almost as if we are being directed from a place of gaining our happiness, our meaning, our ability to engage moves from doing towards being. How do I feel worthy? How do I be at peace? Yes. And we do not necessarily need activities or communication for that. It can be a very reflective thing that we do inside ourselves, but the beauty of it is we do that work inside of ourselves, and then like a lighthouse, it shines out to everyone who comes in our presence. I feel lucky. I feel worthy. I feel blessed. I feel excited to be here. Yes, do you feel the energy of someone who is in that state? Then what a blessing you are to not only yourself, but anyone who comes near you. Yes, so I do not have to do things for people. I do not have to have the same physical ability that, oh yes, I can fix your roof if it is leaking. Of course, that is also a blessing. Yes, if you can help someone in that way. But it comes this place, and this is the, you know, when we speak of sort of the wisdom of elders, in many cultures it is still this way, but it often was in cultures that people would just go sit in a circle around the elder. Why? Because they have gotten to this place of just being the blessing. They do not need to do. Yes. And we think it is not a mistake that is a natural thing that happens as we age. Yes, there's of course a reason and purpose to that. So you get it. You are on the right track. But it is of course natural, healthy, normal part of the process as the person who is losing some of these ways that we used to do things, to be frustrated, to be sad, to grieve. And then once we have expressed that, to come back to that place of, and I am ready. I'm ready to learn how to be human in a new way, in a different way. But I am sure that it will be just as equally worthy as the way I was before. If not more, because I am learning and growing. Yes, now I have that old way and I am learning a new way. I am growing. I have more resources. So, very wise. Thank you, Susan. We appreciate all of your questions and comments today. We would like to invite you all to practice what we have talked about to several different people, which is just being in yourself, being in your peace, being in your heart, and just being a blessing. Yes. And even if, as is with the situation with Kathy, you may be telling someone information that they do not think they want to hear, you are still a blessing for them. In ways you may not understand, in ways you may not know, but you are still a blessing. We are all blessings for each other. We are all teachers for each other. And so understand that you are a blessing. We invite you to practice this in the next week. I am a blessing, aren't I? I'm a blessing to myself. I'm a blessing to the planet. I'm a blessing to everyone that I come across. How delightful. So thank you everyone for being here. We once again appreciate your inquisitiveness. We appreciate your desire to know yourselves, to know more. Most of all, we appreciate your willingness to grow. Willingness to look at things and say, maybe there is a different way that I could do things that might make me happier. And then when I am happier, I will be even more of a blessing to myself. So thank you. We look forward to talking to you next week.